Emma, I started learning to play guitar 3 times in my life.
3 times?
3 separate times, 3 different guitars, 3 fresh beginnings full of excitement and possibility.
And?
And I can currently play exactly 1 chord, the same chord from the first time I started, 7 years ago.
1 chord in 7 years?
1 chord, and I practiced intensely for about 2 weeks each time, then completely stopped, then forgot everything, then started again.
So you are the world's most passionate beginner.
3 times over. And here is the thing. I know people who started learning guitar after me, who are now genuinely good, who play full songs, who perform sometimes.
And the difference between you and them?
They kept going. Not faster than me, not with better talent than me. They just did not stop.
Consistency.
They were consistent, and I was enthusiastic. And enthusiasm without consistency is just a nice feeling that goes nowhere.
And that is exactly what today is about. Because so many people have the enthusiasm, the desire, the good intentions.
But not the consistency. And without consistency, everything stays at 1 chord.
Everything stays at 1 chord. Welcome to Mr. English Podcast.
Your warm, friendly, and completely real place to practice easy English every single day.
I am Emma.
And I'm James. And today we are talking about the power of consistency, what it actually is, why it matters, how it helps you grow, and most importantly, how to make it a habit that actually sticks.
All in very simple everyday English. So if you're a beginner learner, you're in exactly the right place.
And if this episode helps you, please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast right now.
And share it with one person who always starts things with great energy, but somehow never keeps going.
That person might be you, and that is completely okay.
It is very okay. Let's start. James, before we talk about why consistency is powerful, let's make sure everyone understands what consistency actually means.
Good start, because I think people hear the word and think it means doing something perfectly every single day.
And that definition sets most people up to fail.
Because perfect every day is impossible.
So what does consistency actually mean?
It means doing something regularly, repeatedly, even imperfectly, even on days when you do not feel like it.
Not perfectly, regularly.
Those are very different standards. Perfect is a wall most people hit and give up. Regular is a path almost anyone can walk.
And the path walked regularly takes you somewhere real.
The wall just stops you.
So consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up.
Showing up again and again, even when it's small, even when it feels insufficient.
Even when you only have 10 minutes.
Even when your 10 minutes produces something you're not proud of.
Because the showing up is the actual skill, not the result of each individual session.
Emma, why do you think consistency is so difficult for most people?
I think there are a few reasons, and the first one is the most interesting: motivation.
Everyone talks about motivation.
Yes, and most people believe that motivation comes first. You feel motivated, and then you do the thing.
And when the motivation disappears?
You stop because you're waiting to feel motivated again.
And that's the trap.
The biggest trap. Because motivation is an emotion, and emotions are temporary. They come and go based on your energy, your mood, what happened that day, how well you slept.
So if you depend on motivation, your consistency depends on your mood.
And your mood is not reliable enough to build anything real on.
I experienced this with the guitar. The first week, I was so motivated. I practiced for an hour every evening.
And it felt exciting.
Everything was new. I was improving quickly at the beginning. I could feel progress.
And then?
Then I hit a difficult part, a chord change that my fingers couldn't do smoothly, and the progress slowed, and the motivation went with it.
Because the feeling of progress had been fueling the motivation, and when progress slowed, fuel ran out.
So motivation actually depends on feeling progress, but real progress requires patience and consistency through the slow parts.
The unglamorous middle. That's where most people stop.
And that's where consistency, real consistency, actually lives.
So, if not motivation, what drives consistency?
Two things: systems and identity.
Start with systems.
A system means a structure you put in place that makes the behavior automatic. You don't decide each day whether to do the thing. The system decides for you.
Give me an example.
Okay, if I want to practice English every day, but I rely on deciding to do it each morning, I'll skip it on busy days, on tired days, on days where something else feels more important.
Because the decision is made at the moment of least energy.
Exactly. But if I build a system, for example, I always practice English for 15 minutes right after my coffee, I remove the decision.
The practice
coffee
becomes
triggers
connected
the
to something I
practice.
already do automatically. I do not have to decide. I just follow the pattern.
And that is so much easier than willpower.
Willpower is exhausting. Systems are effortless once they are built.
And building the system takes some effort at the beginning.
A few weeks of conscious effort, and then it becomes automatic.
Like brushing your teeth. You do not decide each morning whether to brush your teeth.
You just do it because it is connected to waking up and starting the day.
So the goal is to make your consistent behavior feel as natural as brushing your teeth.
Not exciting, not motivated, just normal.
Normal is sustainable. Excitement is not.
And the second thing, identity.
This one is deeper.
Yes, identity means how you see yourself, the story you tell about who you are.
And how does that connect to consistency?
When you say, I am trying to learn English, what does that tell you?
That English is something outside of me, something I'm working toward, something I have not reached yet.
And when you skip a day, you can easily say, well, I wasn't sure I was really committed anyway.
The identity allowed the skip.
Yes, but when you say, I am an English learner, what changes?
It becomes part of who I am, not just something I'm doing.
And when your behavior contradicts your identity, it feels wrong.
Uncomfortable.
So skipping a day of English practice feels like being untrue to yourself, not just breaking a habit.
So identity is actually a stronger driver than motivation.
Much stronger, because motivation is external. It depends on feelings and circumstances.
But identity is internal. It's who you are.
And you will work very hard to stay true to who you are.
So the shift from I am trying to do this to I am someone who does this is enormous.
Enormous and completely free. It costs nothing to change how you see yourself, but the effects are very powerful.
Let's talk about what consistency actually does for you, because I think people underestimate the power of small, regular actions.
The compound effect.
Yes, explain it simply.
Okay, imagine you improve at something by just 1% every day.
Just 1%. That sounds tiny.
It sounds almost meaningless, 1%. You can barely feel it.
But what happens after a year?
After 1 year of 1% improvement every day, you are not 1% better. You are 37 times better.
37 times?
Because each improvement builds on the previous one. It's not adding, it's multiplying.
So small daily improvements are not small at all over time.
They are transformational over time. But you cannot see the transformation in 1 day or 1 week. You can only see it when you look back from a distance.
And that's why people give up, because they look at day 5 and they can't see 37 times better. They just see 1%.
And 1% feels like nothing.
So they stop just before the transformation was going to become visible.
This is one of the most heartbreaking patterns in personal growth.
People stopping just before the results appear.
Because results from consistency are always delayed. The work comes first, the results come later.
Sometimes much later.
And trusting that the results are coming even when you can't see them yet is one of the hardest things about being consistent.
Let me share something real.
Please.
When I started practicing a new skill, I didn't see any improvement for the first 3 weeks, not one clear sign of progress.
3 weeks. That's a long time to keep going without feedback.
It felt very long. Every day I was doing the work. Every day I was showing up. And every day I looked at my results and they seemed the same.
And what did you feel?
Honestly, I started to wonder if I had a problem, if maybe this particular skill was just not for me. Maybe I didn't have the ability.
The doubt voice.
Very loud, and it made very reasonable arguments. Look at 3 weeks of evidence. Nothing is changing. Maybe stop and try something else.
And did you stop?
I almost stopped, and then I made one decision that changed everything.
What decision?
I decided to trust the process for just 1 more week, just 7 more days. If after week 4 there was still nothing, I would reassess.
And week 4?
Week 4, something clicked. Not dramatically, but I noticed one morning that something that had been hard was suddenly easier, and then 2 days later, something else.
The progress was happening invisibly, under the surface.
And then it became visible all at once, like a plant that seems like it's not growing for weeks and suddenly has new leaves everywhere.
That is such a perfect image.
Because growth is not always visible when it's happening, but it is happening.
And consistency is what keeps you going through the invisible phase.
Through the phase where you have to trust without seeing.
Let's talk about something practical. How do you actually make consistency a habit? Not just understand it, but live it.
Yes, because understanding is one thing,
Make it
doing
smaller
is
than
another.
you think is necessary.
Smaller?
Yes, whatever you want to do consistently, make the daily version much smaller than feels meaningful.
Why?
Because the biggest enemy of consistency is a starting barrier that is too high.
Starting barrier means the effort required to begin?
Yes, if your plan is to practice English for 1 hour every day, on a hard day, 1 hour feels enormous, and you skip it.
And then you skip the next day because you feel guilty about the first skip.
And then the habit is broken, and restarting is harder than starting.
So what do you do instead?
You make the minimum requirement tiny. I will practice English for 5 minutes every day.
5 minutes feels almost too small.
That is exactly the point. 5 minutes is so small that you have almost no excuse to skip it. Even on the worst day of your life, you can find 5 minutes.
And most days you will do more than 5 minutes.
Most days you will start and naturally continue for 15 or 20 minutes.
Because starting is the hardest part.
Always. Once you start, continuing is easy, so make starting as easy as possible.
5 minutes that usually becomes 20 minutes is far better than 1 hour that you often skip entirely.
Far better, because 5 minutes every day beats 1 hour some days, always.
Second thing, track your consistency visibly.
Make it something you can see.
Yes, because what you can see, you can manage. And there's a psychological power to a visible record.
Explain the psychology.
Okay, imagine you have a calendar on your wall. Every day you practice English, you put a large red mark on that day.
And after 10 days, you have 10 red marks in a row.
And that line of marks is something you created, and something you do not want to break.
The unbroken line becomes its own motivation.
It does. You are not practicing English for some faraway goal anymore. You are practicing to protect the line.
The line becomes the reason.
And that is not silly, that is smart psychology. You are using your brain's natural desire for completion and pattern to drive your behavior.
So the tracking system does some of the motivational work for you.
Yes, and when you miss a day, you see the broken line, which is uncomfortable, and that discomfort makes you not want to miss the next day.
So even missing becomes useful because it makes you want to not miss again.
The important rule, though, 1 miss is not a pattern. 2 misses is the beginning of a pattern.
So the rule is never miss twice.
Never miss twice. 1 miss is human. 2 misses is a habit forming.
And you want the right habit to form. Third thing, connect your consistent behavior to your values.
Your values?
The things that genuinely matter to you, not what you think should matter, what actually matters.
And why does that connection help?
Because when your daily practice connects to something you care about deeply, it becomes meaningful, and meaningful things are much easier to continue than things that feel mechanical.
Give me an example.
If you're learning English, there's probably a real reason behind it. A job you want, a country you want to live in, a person you want to communicate with, a version of yourself you're trying to become.
The real reason, not just English is useful.
Yes, the personal, emotional, specific reason.
And when you connect your daily practice to that specific reason,
It stops being about today's 5-minute practice. It becomes about the bigger thing you're building toward.
and that bigger thing gives you energy on the days when the practice itself feels boring or hard.
On those days, you remind yourself, this is not just 5 minutes of practice. This is one small step toward the thing I actually want.
And that reframe is very powerful.
It transforms a boring small action into a meaningful building block.
And meaningful building blocks are much harder to skip. Fourth thing, plan for the hard days, not just the easy ones.
This one is underrated.
Very underrated. Most people build their consistency plans for their best days, when they have time, when they feel good, when life is smooth.
And then a hard day comes and there's no plan.
So they skip, and then feel guilty, and then the habit weakens.
So the question to ask yourself in advance is, what will I do on a day when I'm exhausted, when I'm sick, when travel disrupts my routine, when something unexpected happens?
And you decide in advance, when a hard day comes, my minimum is this.
2 minutes of English practice, 1 page of reading, 1 sentence written.
Something so small that even a very bad day can accommodate it.
And that something, however tiny, keeps the chain alive.
It keeps the identity alive. I am someone who practices English every day, even if today is only 2 minutes.
2 minutes is still every day.
And every day is consistency.
Which is the whole point. Fifth thing, celebrate small milestones, not just big ones.
Yes, because big milestones are far apart.
And waiting for a big celebration to acknowledge your effort is discouraging.
So you celebrate the small ones too.
That is real. That deserves a small acknowledgement.
Day 30, significant.
Day 100. That is something to genuinely celebrate.
And the celebration does not need to be big, just a recognition. I did this. I kept going. That matters.
Because it does matter.
Every day you showed up is a real achievement, not just a step toward an achievement.
The showing up is itself the achievement.
And when you treat it that way, showing up feels worth doing.
And that feeling keeps the habit alive. Emma, I want to circle back to English learning specifically, because this is what many of our listeners are working on.
Yes, and consistency is probably the most important factor in language learning, more than the method you use, more than the resources you have.
More than natural talent?
More than natural talent, because consistent practice over time will develop anyone's English, but even natural talent without consistency will not get very far.
I have seen this so many times. People who seem to pick up English very quickly at the beginning and then plateau and stop growing because they are not consistent.
And people who start slowly but practice every day, even just a little, who steadily climb and eventually pass the quick starters.
The tortoise and the hare, an old story but completely true.
Completely true. And the tortoise's secret is not intelligence, it is just not stopping.
One step, then another, then another.
And the steps add up, always, without exception.
So, to every English learner listening, your daily 5 minutes of practice is not too small.
Your imperfect pronunciation today is not a sign of failure.
Your slow progress is still progress.
And if you show up every day with whatever time and energy you have, the language will come. Not all at once, not dramatically.
But surely, steadily, inevitably.
Because consistency is the only learning method that never fails.
Let me say everything simply before we finish.
Yes, clear and simple.
What is consistency? Doing something regularly and repeatedly, not perfectly, just regularly.
Why is motivation not enough? Because motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. You cannot build something lasting on something temporary.
What drives real consistency? Systems that make behavior automatic, an identity that makes the behavior part of who you are.
What does consistency do over time? It creates compound growth. Small daily improvements multiply into something transformational.
How do you build consistent habits? Make the daily action very small. Track your progress visibly. Connect the habit to something you truly value. Plan for hard days in advance and celebrate small milestones.
And most importantly for English learners, show up every day, even for just 5 minutes, even imperfectly, even when you cannot see progress yet.
Because the progress is happening, even when you cannot see it.
Trust the process and keep going.
Okay, English learners, that is our episode for today. And we hope this felt like a real, warm, useful conversation in easy English.
Because every word of it came from real experience, real struggles, real learning.
If this episode helped you or inspired you in any way, please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast right now.
We're here every episode with real conversations about real things that matter in simple, clear English, just for you.
And please share this episode with one person who started something and stopped, and needs to hear that starting again is always the right choice.
Because it is always the right choice.
Always. And we genuinely want to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Tell us, what is one thing you want to be more consistent about? English practice? Exercise? Reading? A creative skill?
Or tell us about a time when your consistency paid off, when the small daily efforts finally became something visible and real.
Because those stories are the most encouraging things anyone can share. And your story might be exactly what keeps someone else going today.
Every comment you write is also English practice, so it helps you and it might help someone else.
Your words, in whatever English you have right now, are always welcome here.
Always and completely.
So until next time, remember this.
You don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great.
And once you start, the only job is to keep going.
One day at a time, one small action at a time.
And those small actions, stacked day after day, become something you once thought was impossible.
The guitar player who plays full songs, the English speaker who speaks with confidence, the person who became who they wanted to be.
One consistent day at a time.
See you in the next episode, English learners.
Keep showing up. We'll be here every time you do. Bye for now.
Bye for now.